I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello.
Oh my gosh. Hey guys, we're back with lights and music, and I'm so excited. And hey guys, so thank you so much for joining us for the Family Reunion Part 2 after show. I'm your host, Shay Jones. And I'm so happy to be back for Part 2, but I couldn't do this without the amazing woman to my left. She brings you the news and gossip every day, every episode that we do here, Miss Zakiya Wilbert.
Thank you. I couldn't be here without you.
Aw.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Heartwarming.
But guys, we're going to talk about Daniel and Shaka being best man. We have the Coco and Glamma Daphne. Obviously, the major part of this is the wedding, so we definitely have to get into that. Plus, we have our very special segment and news and gossip at the end of the episode. Now, what were your overall thoughts of this episode?
Okay, so overall, I'm huge into weddings. I love them. So I thought this was the cutest episode just to show the love that they had and bringing it back to the last season where they finally jumped over the broom, because we know Madeira had a huge problem with them not jumping over the broom. So for them to bring that and just get remarried, I thought everything overall was amazing. It was cute, and I felt for Coco with losing the whole weight thing, because I've drank the Kanye lemon water.
Kanye, you mean cayenne?
Yeah, that's my way of saying it, though. Kanye Pepper. But I felt for her. I did. So I love this episode. It was cute.
I love this episode, too. We finally get their wedding. We finally get to see it. It's not a Vegas wedding. Mm-hmm. It's planned out at the church. Grandpa's officiating. And everybody's dealing with their own situation in this episode. It was just really good to see. And then we obviously got to meet Coco's mom. And we found out Coco's not her real name. It's Nicole. So I thought that was an interesting little tidbit they threw in there. Mm-hmm. It was. I think overall this was an amazing episode. But we're going to get into Daniel and Shaka. Okay. Now, Daniel wants to be the best man because, you know, he's Moses' brother. He feels like it's his right. But Mose tells Daniel that he makes Shaka his best man. And Daniel's solution to all of this is them being co-best men. Mm-hmm. So they have a very PG-13 bachelor party at Pretty Boys with all-you-can-eat shrimp, darts throwing, good food, or some Roy Rogers, and just like real family time. I thought that, like, for me, that was the first time we actually saw all the guys together in a scene. Like, we even threw in Elvis in there, and that was the first time we actually saw them, you know, interact with each other. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, I thought that scene was really great, especially to see all the men in the family get together and actually do something that was so loving and positive for the entire family. It's just something about men being with their older, whether it's their father or their uncle or their grandfather, but actually getting that connection with them, that always brings a smile to my face. So I'm happy they showed that dynamic. And then the dynamic between the uncle and his nephew, it's cute. It's so cute because it's like, I'm not going to overshine you. I'm going to work with you. Yeah. So I think that was important. That was something that I took away from it when I watched it. It was like, he said, all right, I understand the importance of having your children now involved in your wedding. So I still want to be involved as your brother. So I'm not going to overshine my nephew. I'm going to work with him.
And Mose gives Shaka the most important job, holding the ring.
I don't know why I did that.
A gorgeous ring. And we learned that Daniel is still wearing their grandfather's watch that he gave him. He only brings it out on special occasions. And obviously, your brother getting remarried is a very special occasion, so you wear it. And Shaka, you know, gets a little teased by Elvis, you know, saying that Daniel's a better best man than you. And, you know, Shaka is very competitive when he really wants to be, and he's focused about it. He's like, you know what, now? And then he messes up with the ring a little bit, so he goes to the nearest ring shop to get it cleaned. Now, this is my only thing. A pawn shop is never the right place to get a ring cleaned.
Right.
It's not. Like, that should, like, when you saw pawn shop in the name, you should have just went back to Siri and said, Siri, that's not the right place. Mm-hmm. But I mean, granted, they're under 11, so I'll give them that. So they get there, they meet Squeeze pawn shop with Brother Man from the fourth floor. from Martin. I love anytime I see him doing some other role. It makes me nostalgic though for the Martin episodes that he did.
Right.
Just popping in a window saying, "I'm Broadman from the 5th floor." And just like, but never doing the 5. He always said the 5th floor, but always just holding up 4 fingers.
Right, of course.
It was the best part about that character. But seeing him and then him saying, you know, what about this ring? This bigger ring. And if you trade me the ring that you have right now and these hot wings, your mom just deserves a better, bigger ring. And I think what I took away from that particular scene is just that bigger doesn't always mean better.
Yeah, I mean, that made me upset. That whole scene made me upset because he was manipulating these young boys, and it was a pawn shop. And even within the writing, I guess, on Google, they thought it was a place where you can get the ring clean. Like, obviously, I don't think you can get a ring clean from a pawn shop. So even his description in Google was just unclear and manipulative. So that... Mm-hmm.
Like, now you're, like, no matter, you're underage, and you don't have a parent with you, you're kind of fair game at this point.
No, that's still unfair.
And like,
but
you have a, what was it, a ring, like the enhancer magnifying glass with the light on it, and the fact that he was so quick to try to, like, that should be your first also clue. If you're trying to get me to give you $500 for this ring, that should have been a tip off in my head, red flag. Mm-hmm. Like, first of all, that ring is worth way much more than $500. Like, I'm talking like probably like almost like 5,000 to 6,000 how much that ring was actually worth.
Yeah, it just shows how naive and like immature and young, not even immature because they're young the boys are. They don't know any better. I mean, and Moz, you're wrong for giving that boy that ring, because at the end of the day, that was something that he should have gave to Uncle Daniel. I just feel that it would have been the more responsible move, even though we all believe that Uncle Daniel is irresponsible. I don't know why you thought giving it to Shaka was the best idea.
I can see in his mind why he thought it was a good idea, but I definitely agree with you on the fact that why Uncle Daniel would be a better choice in this situation. But I love what he did. He went to the shop. He tried to get it back from Squee, and it became like we were friends. But now you coming at my job and what I do. Now we got an issue, son. I'm like, sir. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he gives away his grandfather's watch, his most beloved watch that his grandfather gave him before, you know, he died, in reverence to Moz and Coco's wedding. And I thought that was the most selfless thing I've ever seen Uncle Daniel do this in the entire season that the show's been on.
Yes. And
it actually shows just how true of depth he actually is. Because we see it in, like, little small ways throughout the episodes. But I think at this moment you're just like, wow. Like, there's so much more to you than you let other people see.
Exactly. I think that's a great point that you brought out. There's so much more to Uncle Daniel, because I think last season we didn't see him as much, but this season we're getting to know Uncle Daniel. We're getting to know his love life and his commitment to his family, and just to see a different dynamic from him is very important and pivotal to the storyline. So, like you said, he values his family. And that was number one. And even if he had to sacrifice something of his own for his brother to be happy, that's what he did. And that's a true brother. Like, my sisters are like that. But I mean, like, if I had a brother, I want my brother to be like Uncle Daniel.
Totally agree. And then when he brings the ring back to Shaka and Mazzi, they're so excited. But you could also see how much it hurt him to, like, give away this possession he's had since his grandfather. I'm assuming the grandfather has been dead for, like, probably more than 15 years. So it's been a while. And if that's, like, the one thing you have left, like, I know that has to hurt your heart. But, you know, Grandpa heard it. And, he moseys on down to Squee's pawn shop. And Squee's like, oh, hey, Reverend McKellen. Like, what you here for? My son's watch. Mm-hmm. And... first of all, for those who don't know Richard Roundtree, we've talked about this from last season. The original Shaft is Richard Roundtree. Yes. And him walking to the door, flicking that lock, and pulling down the blinds was a complete Shaft move. And I love the fact that they didn't show us anything, because that makes your imagination go even further into what actually could have happened for him to have to give back that watch. Mm-hmm. But I loved it. I had a totally Shaft moment. And then when they're at the church, he gives it back to Daniel, saying, I know what you did and the reason why you did it, and quoted Big Sean. And I'm just like, Grandpa, you know Big Sean. Those are questions that I have for you.
Yes.
But it was a nice moment between father and son, because I think we've always only ever seen Richard Roundtree's character, Grandpa, with Moz, and we haven't really seen him fatherly towards Daniel that much. So that was also a nice change in the episode that I liked. So then we have Glamma. I just love the fact that they call Coco's mom Glamma.
Yeah.
Because Madeira has her name. Like, obviously, her name is Amelia, but we call her Madeira. Mm-hmm. So I love the fact that Coco's mom also gets her own name. And she is a 2-time Emmy-winning actress.
Yes, she is, honey.
She worked hard for her money and them awards she got. And we definitely see how her being around changes Coco in a little bit, in a way.
Yes.
Because she's working herself ragged, trying to look amazing to fit into her wedding dress, which all brides do. They go to bridal boot camp. They really want to, make it tight, make it right in their wedding dress, and going to, their honeymoon looking good. And obviously they've been married for 15 years, but I want you to keep looking at me the same way. Mm-hmm. But she's doing it in a very unhealthy way. From the cayenne pepper, and that's all she's drinking, to just the celery and some raisin. And you can just tell immediately it's unhealthy. But I also loved it how after her mom made a comment to Jade, she snapped. It was a mom. Like, you can say whatever you want about me. Like, I've lived this my whole life. I got it. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to my daughter, like, I have to draw the line.
Yeah.
How did you feel about Coco talking to her mom about her own self-image issues that her mom kind of gave her from raising her?
Of course. So I would like to break it down because when, like you were speaking of Coco and how her whole persona changed when her mom came. When her mom came, it was like Coco was a child again. And she was trying to not please her husband, rather, even though she was losing weight, quote unquote, for the wedding. But it was more so she was trying to please her mother because her mother hasn't really truly been here. So everything her mother was saying, she was doing, and to the point where it made her sick and she passed out. So this is where the big moment came where you don't have to lose this weight or so much weight for this wedding. But so to see Coco like be childlike for her mother was just like bringing me back to like when you're older and your mom expects certain ways and she comes back into town, you're trying to upkeep her expectations. But I do love the motherly character in Coco where she said she understood how wrong it was for her to look at her body differently. And then she stuck up for her daughter when her mom was coming at her daughter. I think that it just reminds me of like even being in LA now. Like when they say like when you're going to the club, I just had this experience. Like you have to be like a certain look for the club or you get denied. And it's such a complex. And Coco was mentioning it. It attacks your self-esteem and it attacks your self-worth. Yeah, magazines. From social media to magazines. It attacks you personally. And I'm like a big advocate for like being confident. But when a whole bunch of people are attacking, especially someone in your family, it hurts. So I'm glad that Coco finally stood up for herself, and I think she gave permission for other women outside of this show, just other women who are watching it, to be like, hey, I am beautiful, I am confident, and I am pretty, and I'm worth being respected.
Yeah, especially because with social media and magazines, commercial, you have all these outside forces trying to tell you how you should look to be seen as beautiful.
Yeah.
And that gives you a complex because you have to figure out, okay, if I'm not like that, then how will I find love?
Yeah.
But it all starts inner. You have to love yourself for that love to come to you. If you love your body and you love the way that God made you, love is going to come from each and every avenue that it can to come back at you.
Ding, ding, ding. And the thing that we have to take away from this is that her mother, when she did finally apologize, I know you're going to get to that, but when she did finally apologize, she said, this was what was taught to me.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like, our elders aren't doing it because they don't like us. They're doing it because it was something that was done to them.
Yes, learned
behavior. Exactly. And they have to understand, oh, wow, I didn't like that. Like, I finally get it now. I also didn't like when it was done to me. So why am I doing it to someone else? Or someone that I love, my daughter. So it was a good episode. It was awakening.
It was. And then obviously Coco had uninvited her mom to her wedding.
Yeah, that was sad.
And her mom showed up anyway to apologize. And like you're saying, she said, this is what my mom said to me. And I forgot how much I hated hearing it. And to know that I was doing the same thing to you, like, I think also broke her heart because she never wanted her daughter to feel the way that she felt. And I'm glad they had that moment and they were able to forgive each other, and her mom was actually able to walk her down the aisle to Moz.
Yes.
As they got remarried and they jumped the broom. And I love the fact we keep mentioning jumping the broom because it was such a big thing, especially during slavery, to be able to do that, because technically slaves weren't allowed to be married. So the way they showed that was by jumping the broom as in an official way to say, we jumped the broom, we are now married, we are now two people who have become one. And I love that aspect of the show, and all the cute photos of everybody at the end with Miss Loretta Devine just singing some Divine Love.
Yes.
Like, you can't get better than that.
You can't. It was honestly like watching a true wedding with a family who was reunited again under whatever circumstances. Because I feel like that wedding brought them all closer together. It showed the love from the men's side of the family, and how they all protected each other and loved one another enough to sacrifice something of themselves. And it also showed like the love between the women. Like, although we had this argument, or you were taught this and you were doing this to me, we could resolve it in a healthy way and move on and be a big happy family. So this episode really brought those aspects to me. So I hope it did for everyone else. If it didn't, let me know.
I know we had Aunt Maybelle back.
Yes.
Thelma Hopkins. I love anytime I see her. She's amazing, and her and Loretta Devine together are just magic.
Funny.
They're just hilarious. So we gotta get quickly into our special segment. So our special segment today is our best Madeira sayings. You want to tell them how it goes?
Yes, guys. So, as you know, we have a special segment called the Best Madeira Sayings. So, what we do is we pick a saying that Madeira said, and we identify that as something that was amazing, astonishing, or that we heard before. I heard you have one for us today.
I do. I loved it when, after Coco let her mom have it, Madeira was just like, I don't think I liked you better on TV. And as a redhead. I was just
Agreed.
like, drop the mic, shade thrown, yes.
Agreed. I have to agree with you. I can't come up with anything better.
It was really, and then she just walked out the room. She was just like, yep, I said what I had to say, and I'm gone.
Yep.
I love that so much. And now, Ms. Akia, you also have some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
You know I do, so I'm going to bring to you the news and gossip from Family Reunion. Look at this lovely picture. Now, if you guys don't know, this is Anthony, our Moz, with a Blackish cast. I almost said Grownish, because you guys know that's a spinoff of Blackish. But he is actually advertising and promoting Blackish, which is another healthy Black family on television. And I thought that love was just amazing to see that he's like, yeah, go watch it. After you watch my show, watch this show.
Because these shows are important for for the times that we live in. And then you like, living in Hollywood, it's just almost just like you have to keep reminding people that our lives, our stories, they matter. They should be on TV. They should be on streaming platforms.
Exactly.
We should be here. We deserve our right here at the table. Let us be.
Exactly. And if you guys didn't know, we had Anthony here on the panel for season 1 and part 1, and he's honestly amazing. So to see this just made me smile. Like, my heart was like, oh my gosh. I love him.
I know, we love you, Anthony.
Come back.
Come back. Like, we need you to come back. And guys, thank you so much again for joining us for the Family Reunion Part 2. Remember our parents' wedding. Miss Akia, do you want to tell people where they can find you on all social media platforms?
You guys can find me on all social media platforms at ZakiaW_. Check out your girl.
Oh, my bad. And you guys can find me at Real Shade Jones on Twitter and Instagram, and Popcorn Talks Disney News Weekly. See you guys soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.